and a very warm welcome to you all to episode 7 of Lockdown SK 2.0, the original interactive self-isolation talk show, broadcasting to you live from our micro streaming studio here on the beautiful island of Corfu. And as always, we're broadcasting live onto Facebook and also on YouTube. Should you like what you see or hear, please like us, share us and follow us on Facebook. And if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe to our channel. As always, if you're feeling in a generous mood, why not make a donation to help keep running costs down? And you can do that by logging on to our website www.studiokerkra.com, or else the other website www.kerkra.live. And as always, I'm very pleased to say we have the help and assistance of our wonderful producer, Claire, who will be answering all your comments live on Facebook. And of course, no show would be quite complete without the master of the controls, the one and only Mr. Thomas Haas. Hello, Thomas, and how are you today?
Hello, Adrian. Hello, everybody out there. Nice to see you. It's great. It's Friday the 13th, isn't it?
Yes. Ooh, spooky.
Crazy. But try it's Friday the 13th, lockdown episode number 7. And thanks, and I can see already a lot of you are commenting already. Our question of the day is, do you think COVID-19 gonna change your life? There's yes, no, or not sure. Did I say that right? Yeah.
You did indeed.
Spot on,
man. Well done.
Well
remembered.
Memory, man.
Yes, good one. You haven't got COVID-19 just yet, and I'm very pleased to hear that.
Yeah. No, I'm trying to stay away from it. But absolutely. You know what you don't know? It's an invisible enemy, so we have no idea. And lockdown is here. That's the reason why we broadcast again Monday to Friday, 6 p.m. Greek time, 4 p.m. UK time. So guys, but as always, we start off with the figures from yesterday. Let's have a look.
Yes, indeed. Sobering, I'm afraid to say, everybody.
Very sobering. It's okay, this is the COVID update from yesterday, the Thursday, the 12th of November 2020. When we look in Greece, a new high of 3,316 new cases. Here on the beautiful island of Corfu, we had 20 new cases, and generally in Greece, deaths are 50. Yeah, so it's getting really now to a level nobody expected, I think.
No, nasty, absolutely, yes.
Yeah, so it's but United Kingdom, let's go over there because they nearly had an increase of 11,000. There's 3,470 new cases and 563 deaths.
Yes, dreadful in 24 hours this is.
I mean, I remember, when we started lockdown, Series 1, we never had figures like that. That was really, and now we're here, and we both shocked. I think you're all out there a little bit shocked of what's happening, of what's, how the whole wave, the second wave is really like they predicted.
Yes, exactly.
The second wave is going to be worse.
Yeah, and of course we've got the winter months, the colder weather, and of course
it's still to come,
virus,
man.
Yeah,
yes, still
virus,
to come.
But it's definitely not so hot all around. But no, you're quite right. The worst is yet to come for winter-wise weather. Yes, for sure.
Yeah, United States. Have a look at that. It's 163,402 new cases. Death 1,172.
It's like every day there's a new record being broken there, isn't it? That's very sad indeed and very worrying. It is, isn't it?
It is, not totally. And when I go over and say, okay, let's have a look quick at our map here at bing.com/COVID/local and Greece. I selected Greece here. There you can say it's, the numbers is going up everywhere we look now. So if you want to log on to this map, see, with the figures, it's always why we're doing the figures from yesterday to today is because now we know the real figures. Now we know exactly what's published, because if you look for the different sources, it's still very confusing.
It is indeed. There's one reason for that. I read there's a note from the Johns Hopkins University, that's out of Baltimore, Maryland. They are the oldest private university in the world, operating since 1876, and they are the people who correlate these figures for both the Bing site and indeed the COVID-19 site. Yeah. They're warning or reminding us all that the past data for new cases is a 3-day rolling average. That might go to explain why there are one or two slight anomalies between, shall we say, COVID-19 and the Bing map that you show there.
Yeah. When I read on the site, they say plus 33,470, what's right, and plus 563. That's right. But when you look here on that, where I go now, what highlights United Kingdom, no, it's just a quick total of the whole thing. That's all it is.
Yes, indeed. Thessaloniki, in case you're wondering, North Greece is still very much being ravaged by this pandemic. 828 new cases. Athens, 756. Crete, 42. And as Thomas has shown you, Corfu, 20, which is all up on yesterday and the day before. It's just a rolling average going up every single day.
It's going up. It's weird. It's really weird.
Scary.
I mean, we saw now with the lockdown, it's gonna come down a little bit. But don't you think we missed that? You think they were too slow this time? They should have responded much, much faster than they did.
There is an argument to say that they were warned by many medical experts to do so, and as I think we've had this discussion before, maybe they were just waiting to get to the end of the tourist season before they brought these measures in. And the UK, of course, were strongly recommended to do a circuit breaker, weren't they? That is to have a mini national lockdown covering the period of the UK half-term holidays from schools. The UK government decided not to, and now their figures are definitely steadily on the increase. The one thing, of course, we should say is that there are significantly much more testing going on now than there was, say, 3-4 months ago. So that's the only thing, a mitigating circumstance.
I mean, regarding schools, what you just said, here, the Greek government, and that's breaking news, guys, the Greek government from Monday on, all the Greek primary schools, generally all of Greece, gonna be closed. They want to stop the parents from traveling to school and back. They saw, okay, this is a big problem. All the parents now thrown into the mix. So from Monday on, all the Greek primary schools are closed.
That's a bit of a shocking bit of news, isn't it?
Yeah, but
we can understand it.
Coming.
It's totally understandable, and that was the same as the United Kingdom. They were very concerned, not so much about the children, but about the parents mingling at the school gates. Do you remember that story in the UK papers from several weeks ago when UK schools went back, that some teacher was actually put into hospital because he got into a flaming argument with a angry parent at the gate who wasn't wearing a mask? That was a few weeks ago.
I know.
Quite staggering, really, isn't it?
And that's what I said to you yesterday when I went out, and people that don't wear, and you just look at them. It's just enough when you look at them. They're getting really aggressive.
Yes, they are.
You know what? And somehow, you're getting fed up with that, because when there is a rule, the rule should be followed. There are still so many people out there who are dumb enough to believe that's not true, that's all just a conspiracy. I can't believe you can be that stupid.
Well, there's hundreds of them I've seen them on the film. I told you yesterday about Manchester and Liverpool. One person that wasn't too concerned and went, was it a 200-mile journey for his eye test in Barnard's Castle, was Dominic Cummings. You might be pleased to know, Thomas, that he's leaving number 10 Downing Street before Christmas.
For Christmas.
Wow.
So he made enough money, it's time for him to go.
Exactly. And all his mates and friends and relatives, it's all, we're all in it together, of course.
Probably they go by themselves the island and disappear. But
bit like, what's her name, Kim Kardashian. She did the same and had a fabulous party, didn't she, and got into trouble on Twitter and Instagram.
Yes.
She flew all her friends there. I mean, no masks, no social distancing, and the excuse was, well, you have to do it when there's a pandemic going on. You can't you've got to have a bit of fun, I think she said. But anyway,
very. I see how IQ is not very high. But let me say hello over there to our viewers, our followers. Here, Lorraine Smith is saying hi, folks. Jackie Cherry is saying hi, everybody.
Hi,
Anthony van der Graan from Holland is good evening to my friends. He just wrote that in Dutch, so I have to do Dutch because you're doing Finnish, aren't you? Tom Giddings is saying hi, everybody. Hope all are safe and well.
Hi, Tom.
Thanks,
Hi,
mate.
Anthony.
It's great. We are fine. Margaret Johnson, hi.
Hi, Margaret.
Everyone, welcome back. Caroline, hi, everybody. Hope you have a great day. Yes, we so far so good.
Thank
so
you,
we're gonna see.
Yes, absolutely. Hope you did too.
Yeah, and Sir Roseman, hi, gang.
Hi,
hoping
Sarah.
everyone is okay. Hoping your enthusiasm will help me whilst I'm painting the bedroom. Regards to you all. So let's see. So let's paint with you. No?
We'll paint with you, Sarah. Absolutely fantastic. I'm not very good at painting myself. I get more on myself than I would on the wall. But fair play to you, and it keeps your mind and hands occupied. So it's a good thing to do. Positive.
It's definitely a good thing to do.
Great. Well done.
Lynn O'Hara writing in saying, hi all, more restrictions from Monday, so might we get a last weekend swim in. So the primary schools are closing already on Monday, so they're gonna be much more everywhere coming. I can't see that with the 3 weeks what you're talking.
No, I think
3 weeks and then over. If they do that, what is this 3 weeks?
30th of November it's due to end. UK is the 2nd of December, but the way things are looking at the moment, we can't help but think, Thomas, can we, that it's going to be extended into December, maybe right through Christmas and into January. Who knows? We don't know, and I'm sure the Greek government will soon tell us soon enough. They've got to give it a little bit of time for this current lockdown to show any benefit, as it were. But at the moment,
that's what I'm talking. 3 weeks, is this enough? So 3 weeks, and let's open up for Christmas. What?
That may have been the original way of thinking, but I think if the figures carry on going up, they won't be doing that, I don't think.
Yeah, no, I hope they see that. They for sure seeing that. But you know what? There's people out there who are angry because Christmas is in danger. Oh my God, it's like an endangered animal Christmas or something. I have no idea, man. But it's not in danger. But go back to the roots of Christmas. What was Christmas all about in first place? Not commercialized, go shopping and
no, not at all.
That's
absolutely.
all. Spending your time with the people you love, and this is your family and your friends. And this year probably it's gonna be different, but because of the digital age, it's gonna look different, but we still can have the same spirit.
Oh, absolutely. Nothing like the Christmas spirit, and we can have a digital Christmas. I mean, of course it's not the same, but we can do something. We can bring something out of the fires of destruction to give us a little bit of joy and wonder at Christmas. We'll have to wait and see.
I mean, we're lucky, we have the digital
yes.
side now,
Yes,
the digital side, at least you can see each other when you're cold. Okay, it's not the same, but 20 years ago, if this would have happened 20 years ago, you wouldn't have this option.
It would have been far worse.
Far worse.
Most definitely so. That's a positive way of looking at it. Yes, Thomas.
Hey, Christopher Dabana is saying hello.
Hi,
Lawrence Fox dumped by his agent, Cummings leaving, and Sutcliffe dead. It can't be Friday the 13th.
Oh, yes. Peter Sutcliffe, for those that don't recognise the name, was a horrific serial killer back in the UK.
Yorkshire Ripper, no?
Yorkshire Ripper, yes, indeed. They were warning that he was ill, but
he refused COVID-19 treatment and died
at
the age of 74.
Yes, he did. Thank you for reminding me of that. And he also refused to apologise or comment much about his appalling victims and the tragedy that befell their families, loved ones and friends. Let's not dwell on him. He's a serial killer.
Exactly.
No. Who the hell was he?
On.
Anyway, Thomas. Go on.
Wait, let me say hello. Alexandros Guionalis is saying hello. Alexandros, hello.
Hi,
to you
Alex.
too. Robert James is saying interested to know people's forecast for 2021. Whoa. That's
yes. Well, we'll probably feature that a little bit nearer the time when we'll have expectations for the new year. Definitely.
And Lavinia is saying scary figures. When will everybody learn to behave? Poor Salonika.
Yes.
Salonika, They should have shut down in Greece much earlier, in my view. But I suppose the love of money tourism won. Keep safe wherever you are.
Thank you, Vinny, very much
it's
indeed.
our question today, what do you think? I'm just update you now so you can write the first figures down. We ask, do you think COVID-19 will change your life? Yes, no, or not sure.
Yes.
So yes, 39%, no, 30%, not sure, 30%.
Okay. Pretty split at the moment,
That's
really.
pretty split at the moment. But I have here Tom Giddings, already is. Not a day goes by, you have to think, wear my mask, need to keep my distance. Simple tasks are now bigger tasks.
That's very true indeed. They certainly are, yes. And wash your hands a lot more, I think, than you might normally otherwise do. I think masks, social distancing and the washing hands, the three of them are absolutely vital and essential.
Definitely.
But Vinny makes a good point. There are still, unfortunately, a lot of people who aren't adhering to these very three simple steps. And I mean, it's not the end of the world to do any of those things, is it really? There's far worse things around in life that you have to face on a daily basis, and doing those things at all times when you're out and about, absolutely imperative, unless you want to go down with what is still rather an evolving disease, isn't it? A virus. It's very
It's
much
gonna
evolving.
change.
And
I mean, what do you think? It's going to change your life?
Do I think it's going to change my life? Yes, I do. And I also go further and think it's actually going to change the life of the whole planet, I personally feel.
Ooh.
I do. No, I do.
So you really think it's going to change a lot? I think it's going to do.
Yes, I do.
I think something going to, it's not going to be the old normal.
No.
Everybody's looking at the old normal. Maybe we can go back to normal by spring. Of course, that's a dream.
Yes.
Fantastic dream. I would love to have that. And we got some hope as we can. But the figures are not supporting it in.
No, the figures are absolutely diabolical, getting worse every day. And I mean, unless we see a decline, like, shall we say, at the end of next week, then there's no chance of this lockdown coming to an end anytime soon. I do not think.
No. And here, for example, you only have to look at Sweden at the moment.
Yes,
everybody who watched it today on the news about Sweden, it was really so. Sweden is getting out of control. The cases are going up. And one interview with the Prime Minister, he got asked why he is not making the wearing of masks mandatory.
Right.
Yeah?
Yes. What did he say?
Was incredible what he said. What he just come out with. He just looked at the journalist and said, "You know what? Telling people to wear mask is giving them a false sense of security."
Right. That, funnily enough, that was an argument we heard from some members, even, would you believe, from the World Health Organization back in March and April. They changed their tune pretty much in the summer months when they announced that they had evidence that this virus was airborne, it had the ability to be airborne, and their advice on masks definitely changed. But in early days, some of their members were saying that. And, of course, the other lot were saying, well, there's insufficient supplies, you must give the health workers must come first and all of that. But I think thinking has changed a little bit in the scientific community about masks, and now it's definitely a proven fact that it is airborne, or can be. And really, that is why the governments are stressing mask wearing and social distancing. And we here at Studio Kirker cannot for the life of us think why there are so many people out there who disagree, who think it's some government conspiracy, a power grab, a media conspiracy, and all the rest of it. We spoke about that yesterday, and no doubt we'll carry on talking about it until the penny drops, because we're all about preserving human life. We don't want human suffering to perpetuate as it is at the moment. It's terrible.
Yeah, I mean, we a media company, we allowed outside, we allowed with our cameras, we got our permits, we got our special papers, and we are not doing it because, we're risking that, not just for us, but for others at the same time. Absolutely. So, of course, we losing content, what otherwise we would have brought to you. But in the moment, this is irresponsible.
It's not appropriate, is it?
It's not at all.
We don't feel right about doing it, quite frankly. It's half the world suffering badly, then we can't be parting. That's why we mentioned Kim Kardashian, quite frankly.
Exactly.
Yes, sorry about that.
It is, we got enough to do when we research, anyway. We didn't expect
no time
that
for
amount.
jollies in the countryside.
No, but the amount of time we're reading now,
hours,
every day, hours to get that in and make that.
Hey, for you, our wonderful audience, every second is a joy to do. And I actually mean that. I'm saying as if I'm being flippant, but no, I'm not actually, because it is, and we never forget this, do we, Thomas? It's a sheer privilege and a pleasure to sit here day after day, Monday to Friday, to communicate to the world, to all you lovely people out there, and to help, because education is everything, isn't it? We are educating each other as we go forward here. We haven't got the answers to hardly anything, really, but just out there are many people who do know a lot more than us, and that's why we can share our thoughts together. Just maybe, as humanity, we can move forward in a successful fashion. Bearing in mind, love triumphs over hate, and we're fed up with too much hate. Thomas,
it's tiring at the same time when you look now at the figures, when you look now at all the reports, and this gets you a little bit down. So it's always every time just before the show we bounce back, aren't we? It's crazy.
We always
before
have a
the
bounce.
Show today we were both a little bit more quiet.
Yes, I was a bit like a wet blanket, I think. Come into the studio at Studio Kirker, and it's bang, bang, bang. Yes, we've got to go because we owe it to our viewers and followers to provide upbeat jolliness as where we can. I mean, there's nothing jolly about COVID-19.
It's like self-therapy at the same time, man.
It is. It's a symbiotic relationship we got here, from us to the viewers, but most importantly from the viewers back to us. Thomas, slightly moving away, back to the very beginnings of this broadcast. We mentioned it was that auspicious date, Friday the 13th, often associated with various horror stories in America and all the rest of it, those films, if you remember. But in England, I just must point out that in England it was not so, because a baker's dozen was a lucky number to have 13, because if you ordered 12 buns and one was wrong when you got home, that's why he always gave you an extra. So a baker's dozen in England, the 13th, isn't so bad. But, Thomas, I was surprised to find out that actually here in the world of Greek Orthodoxy and on this beautiful island of Corfu in wonderful Greece, they have a different perspective, and of course they would do. First of all, Tuesday being the third day of the week, third time unlucky, they don't like that. And April the 13th, 1204, Constantinople fell to the Fourth Crusade. Of course, Constantinople, now today it's known as Istanbul. In 1453 it fell, actually on May the 29th, and it fell to the Ottoman Empire. But apparently, would you believe that if you add the numbers up of the year, 1, 4, 5, 3, it comes to 13, would you believe? Also, the number 13 is not a perfect number like 12. There were 12 gods of Olympus, for instance. There are 12 months in the year, 12 hours in the day, 12 hours of night. There was the 12 labours of Hercules, and would you believe there's 12 signs of the zodiac. So all that, according to this information, has come from GreekReporter.com. All of that adds up to a good Greek person being a little bit wary of a Tuesday, that is the 13th, but it's still bad enough to be Friday the 13th. So now you know, and I know as well. I'll try and remember that for next year.
Yeah, where Friday normally is a great day, end of the working week, into the weekend.
Exactly. We like our Fridays, don't we?
But did you know that the Greeks are still calling it Constantinopolis? They're not calling it Istanbul.
No, but you know what?
The Greeks now, it's still Constantinopolis.
I'm with them. I'm with them, because the name Constantinople conjures up instantly an amazing image of some sort in the mind. It's a very poetic name, and it has great significance. Apparently, they say, experts, much more expert than I'm not an expert on anything, but they say it's still, in the Christian world, the biggest shock that has ever happened when Constantinople in 1453 fell. The effects are still with us today, and of course President Erdogan in current-day Turkey and Istanbul, he's just changed the use of that wonderful cathedral, I suppose. It's got a name, and I temporarily can't remember it, because it was a place of worship for all sorts, Christianity, Islam, and it was a museum for centuries, and now he's converted it back to a mosque, if you believe, and it caused utter outrage around the globe. Not, I suppose, if you're a devout Muslim, but I think many devout Muslims were happy with it the way it was, because there was a mosque inside, but at the same time it was a museum. But anyway, he went and changed that recently.
So, Sarah Roseman, what I just said, Sarah Roseman is saying, good info, Adrian. See, that's great.
Thank you, Sarah.
And Angie Driscoll saying, thank you for keeping us so well informed.
We try our best, Angie, but occasionally we slip up, and if we do, please don't hold back. Let us know. Put us on the right path, so to speak.
Yeah, then I have 2 more messages, because we were talking regarding Christmas. Linda Hera is saying, I will be doing Christmas online with my family. See, that goes. It's
good
the first
one.
year
I
already.
understand that.
But
yes,
then Caroline is writing in, I can't imagine ever wanting to go into a crowd again. I was always nervous in crowds, and always and also being around people with colds.
Yes.
This has just made it worse now. Yeah,
I can totally sympathise with those sentiments, Thomas.
Yeah, but at the same time she's saying not to worry about Tuesday or Friday the 13th. We have nearly done 2020.
Yes, it's slowly drawing to a close, isn't it? And I think an awful lot of people are going to be breathing some collective sigh of relief on December the 31st, unless, of course, you're worried about Brexit. Although that's another subject altogether.
Oh my God!
We'll leave that to an episode of Agree to Disagree. Yes, well.
Ooh, that's going.
Well, it's definitely going into wherever you are. Forget Brexit a minute. Wherever you are in the world, definitely going into 2021. There's got to be a little bit of a feeling, hasn't it? A bit more than usual at that New Year's end.
Yeah. Lavinia saying 12 disciples. The Greeks also still refer to Constantinople as the city Polis.
Ah, right, okay. City what, sorry, Thomas? Was that?
Polis.
P-O-L-I-E. Oh, right, yes, okay. Thank you, Vinny.
So, that's that one. No? But 12 disciples, what were they, 12 or 13? I don't know.
No, they were 12, I think.
I think so too, yeah.
But it's the 12 gods of Olympus, I think, as well, was the other thing that stood out for the Greek order.
Okay, now just to see. Yeah, just to get there. Great, man. But other things to talk about, and when I called it up now, while we spoke about that, Reuters confirmed it yesterday. 1 in 5 COVID-19 patients develop mental health issues within 19 days, a study says. And this is from London, from Reuters. Yeah.
Right, that's shocking, Thomas.
So many COVID-19 survivors are likely to be at great risk of developing mental illness. Psychiatrists said on Monday, after a large study found 20% of those infected with the coronavirus are diagnosed with the psychiatric disorder within 90 days.
That's quite illuminating
That's
and
quite
horrible, quite horrific, isn't it? Yes.
It is, and
That's
there's
very bad.
why we said, because what is the symptoms? Somebody were really confused about the symptoms. I got a couple of emails in asking, okay, what's there with symptoms? And I looked through in the support group we were talking about. I found a list what people who have COVID put together. So somebody asked a question, and a lot of people contributed to that. And I'm just trying to code it up now, if it lets me or not.
Okay.
And here it goes. I have that here. Yeah. There's a headache, dizziness, spinning or vertigo, loss of taste, loss of smell, shortness of breath, back pain, dry cough, dry sinuses, runny nose, hot flashes, chills, fever, loss of appetite, fatigue, numbness or tingling, nightmares and vivid dreams, dry eyes, watery eyes, digestive issues, constipation, brain fog, anxiety, depression, weakness, weird smells when your smells come back after you had it. People say they had weird smells in there.
Yes, I've read that as well, Thomas.
Yeah,
Yes.
so they're listing so many of that. So if you want to go and have a look, this is the COVID-19 support group. Just type into the search box in Google, in Facebook, COVID-19 support group, and this pops up. So it's very, very interesting of what they're sharing all their experiences. These old people who had COVID, suffered from it, or still suffering, or had family members suffering, and they exchange a lot of information, and I think that's a way forward, man.
Absolutely, it's great to be informed, and it's a great. At least you've got a sense of community. And
Yeah.
There is someone at the other end of the line that can answer your pressing questions, because some of this is quite specialist knowledge, really, isn't it?
It is. And so there's some great stuff in there, and we're gonna bring more. I have some articles, but I don't want to go, one article into another. I want to keep that for lockdown, because there's really some good things. When people ask, I got the answers here. It's also Monday I'm gonna talk about breathing, where people say they have respiratory problems. Yeah?
Right.
And I got something here I want to show Monday then.
Yes, okay. On that subject, it was announced yesterday by the Greek Health Ministry, I think, that 1 in 5 now need this new term, which I know you know about, but I've never heard the term before, intubation. Basically, that's where there's a tube inserted into the trachea. 1 in 5 patients are having to do that. And also, the other thing they're very concerned about, Thomas, is that the average age of people occupying ICUs has fallen from, originally it was in the 80s was the most popular age group. Well, now, rather worryingly indeed, it's come down to the 40s and 60s age group that are the most numbers in ICUs.
Wow.
Yes, and that was from the Greek Health Ministry yesterday.
Yeah, and this is when the figures are going up and they're dramatically going up. So it's going to be interesting to see. When I just look over here into the poll, we ask you today, do you think COVID-19 will change your life? Yes, no, or not sure. So yes is 44%, no 30%, and not sure 26%.
Oh, but
so
yes has gone up.
Yes is gone up.
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
44% is
yeah,
yes.
yeah.
And I think, wow, it is. It's going to
I'm afraid
affect
so.
so many of us. No?
Yeah.
And that's what, where the anxiety comes then in.
Totally. Anxiety is a very nasty thing. If everyone's suffered from it, it's very nasty indeed. In fact, half the time, you're not actually aware that you are suffering from an anxiety attack. That's the funny thing about it.
That's the whole thing. But you know what? I showed you that before this thing. I got here a picture. Lorraine Smith were posting that today.
Yes,
so I'm going to
there you
share that. How to prevent an anxiety attack. I think that's very, very helpful. If everybody out there who really has a problem now and says, anxiety is really getting the hold of me, look at that. We're going to post that then also on the studio Facebook page after the show. And it's saying, how to prevent an anxiety attack. Breathe deeply in through your nose and out through your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Slowly look around you and find 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, 1 emotion you feel. This is called grounding. That's grounding yourself, and it's a very, very important exercise. Yeah.
Yes,
so I put this on to the studio page soon, and then please share this. It could really help somebody in need.
Absolutely. Well done. Thank you very much, Lorraine, for sharing that with us.
Yeah, and this is so. I think this is so important tips what we have to go into.
Oh, totally. Yes. And now you, John, belong to that COVID-19 support group. We may get many more to come, which would be a great benefit to everyone who is suffering from COVID-19 or has got a family member, for instance.
Yeah.
Always good to get as much knowledge on these things as possible.
The thing, yeah. So when we look over, Jackie Cherry is just writing in and saying, okay, today they just released the figures for Greece. Today's figure is 3,038. Thank you very much, Jackie.
Thank
That's
you, Jackie.
great.
Yep, nice to see Jackie's on the ball as usual.
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
That's a
Lynn
bad
is saying
figure,
she can't wait for the 31st of December because it's her birthday and the year is over. So that's great.
Yes,
so that's
well
a good birthday
done.
party.
Good
Yeah.
one, yes, absolutely.
But Tom Giddings, I would be so interested how many people have already had it. The list is so fast. Had it and not realized.
Oh, that's a very good point. Absolutely.
That's a good one.
Yes, because there's so many cases
Yeah,
that are
exactly. It's a good
asymptomatic,
one.
which we've said all the way along the line. Can I just remind you one more day running, Thomas, that these recovery rate percentage figures are all over the place, but most countries are pulling in over 50% recovery rate, but not so the United Kingdom. Yesterday I said it was 0.9%. Well, guess what? In 24 hours it's gone down.
Yeah.
It's worse at 0.8%. I mean, Greece is doing well at 30-something%
30-something
compared
percent,
to
isn't
the UK, for instance.
Yeah.
Sweden, do you want to know, just while we're here, can I just quickly tell you what Sweden was, because I know you mentioned it. Sweden is now running at a total number of cases of 171,365, with a total number of deaths standing at 6,122.
Wow.
They have 4,971 recovered cases, that's 2.9%. But of course, you may all well remember Sweden took a completely different path, didn't they, in the beginning of this pandemic?
They were completely
No
relaxed.
lockdown,
there were no
no
restrictions, really,
no,
nothing.
There weren't, no.
They
And
just let that go.
I remember some government minister saying, "Oh, well, we're Swedes. We've Viking blood in us. We are strong. We can stand up. We're outdoor people. We can stand this virus." And maybe many of you could, but certainly not everyone.
Yeah, always in every community you got vulnerable in there what have some health issues born with, or they get that throughout their life. So you a statement like that is quite thing. But Lorraine Smith is writing in and saying life is for living and we can still enjoy it even with the restrictions. After we have had all our vaccinations, life will be back to normal, hopefully not forgetting all the good neighborly actions.
Yes.
We have been lucky being able to access the internet, keeping in touch with friends and family. Stay safe, everybody, but on those fashionable masks and put on those fashionable masks and keep your safe distance.
Yes, that's a good point. There are lots of masks, fashionable indeed. Have you seen, I think this year's colour, this must-have colour for a face mask, at least in Greece, seems to be black. I don't know.
I know,
do you think
everything I got mine is black, but it's the only thing what I were able to pick up in the shop.
Okay.
I
have a white one that someone very kindly gave to me, but the medical masks are not really white, are they? They're blue.
I know they somehow, they blue, so blue, greenish, so that.
I never was very fashionable, Thomas, so perhaps black doesn't look quite right on me. But anyway, no, it doesn't matter about the colour. Just please wear your mask inside and out nowadays, for the moment, while we're ravaging this awful pandemic. Otherwise, all the good work that so many millions of people are doing will just go out the window or be for nothing. All these sacrifices that we're all having to give up.
All these things, exactly. I mean, sacrifices. What is a sacrifice? You have to stay at home just to prevent that. With all the technique, with all the digital work we're in there. We're not really getting bored. We can entertain ourselves. Have we forgotten how to entertain ourselves?
Maybe some of us have. I definitely think so. But, now it's time to bring out the Scrabble board or perhaps a game of Monopoly or some such.
Or do some crafting.
Yes, or paint your bedroom as Sarah's doing or something.
Exactly. That's the
well done, Sarah. Got me out of a hole there.
Got me out of a hole. Army Speller is saying hi and good Friday, everyone.
Oh, Good Friday. Yes,
Good Friday,
Hiva Ilta, I have to say to you and all of our wonderful other Finnish friends. We love hearing from you, Army. Please keep your comments coming in. It doesn't matter if you can't speak English. I can't speak Greek or Finnish for that matter. But we managed to communicate. So we get the gist of what you mean, I'm sure.
That's great. And Sarah Roseman is commenting, unfortunately, the initial COVID-19 resulted in the death of older and at-risk people. And now as COVID-19 evolves and we have been out and about, it will naturally affect the next cohort of ages. But hopefully with more understanding of the virus, more people will survive.
Here, sir. Absolutely right. Understanding it's still very much an ongoing thing, even in the high echelons of the scientific community. They're still getting to grips with this wretched pandemic. But that's a very good point, Sarah. Yes, you're quite right. Also, the other thing that the Greek health minister said, while I remember it, Thomas, is there's now evidence of more 18-year-olds in ICU.
It's the younger one, exactly. It's the younger generation who is now hardly hit by it, and I'm not surprised somehow. It is, they mingle the most, they broke the rules the most too. When you look at it,
I think we have to be honest and say that. Yes, we do. Yeah.
So, but Pierre Flowers is saying hello from Bogna.
Hi,
hello, Pierre. Nice to see you. And here, Jackie Cherry is saying, I have started decorating.
Oh, well done, Jackie.
See, so use your time. There's so many things you can do through lockdown. It is not just saying that, but it is.
Yes, you can write all those long lost letters that you were going to write. You can write that book, your memoirs, for instance. Or you could perhaps learn a new thing. There's so much things with the internet now. I mean, as you said, Thomas, it's a very different world now than, say, 50 years ago. And in theory, there's a hell of a lot more you can do just from the palm of your hand if you've got a smartphone or tablet, for instance.
Yeah.
And more people have now than, say, even 5 years ago. So there are more people who are digitally connected, and what a better place to digitally connect than this one, Lockdown SK 2.0. This is your number one place for digital connection in all matters COVID and other things, broadcasting to you live from this beautiful island of Corfu. And as I say, it's this shared experiences are very important here, and also a wonderful demonstration of collaboration, isn't it?
Oh, it is, and that's great. That's exactly how it should be. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and this is something, what just evolved over, nearly now a year, man. Nearly a year, but it's great to see.
Yes, it is indeed. Yeah.
Cool. Let me carry on, because there were also questions. We talked about that, and I found some info out, and this were regarding how long does the tests for COVID need. And I found this in a group. Somebody asked bravely this question, and hundreds of people gone in from all over the world. How long they waited for their tests back, and that all that ranges from 30 minutes to 7 days. So they were really
a huge difference,
exactly.
Isn't it?
That's what I thought.
Yes, it is, man. Yes.
And there's a lot info coming from the United States, and there's people saying, when I go to the doctor, I have this within a day. I go to the pharmacist, it takes 3 days. Yeah.
Well, I suppose you've got to have transport there on the pharmacy, because they've got to send it off and then they've got to get it back.
Probably, yeah.
So that might explain that.
But it is really the variety of time frame. It's huge.
The lateral flow test that we were mentioning a couple of days ago is supposed to give you a result in 20 minutes, I do believe, if I remember rightly.
Well, yeah.
Let's hope we can get more of those.
More of those there. So within an hour, that's great. Most say, I go into the doctor within an hour, I know, and it's all right. In hospital, it's the same. But if you go outside private testing, and it can take 3, 5 to 7 days. So it depends. So what I found out is between 1 hour and 3 days is the average.
Okay, that's interesting information. Let's hope they can, on average, bring that down.
Definitely. And they're gonna, definitely.
Yeah.
Here, I got more messages in. Guys, thank you so much for writing in. Dom Giddings is saying, one day when things are back to some normality and life goes back to how it was, I really hope people don't go back to how it was. Example, people not checking in with their vulnerable relatives, checking on their neighbors and helping. Hope the way we currently are, we can carry on in that aspect. So that's great.
Here, Tom, that's a very positive way of looking at it. There we are. It's a good example of a positive from a negative situation. Yes.
Totally, yeah. David Roseman, younger people in the up to 30 age group are suffering terribly from anxiety, in my experience. Many of them are concerned that their education is impacted and their employment prospects are shrinking. Also, they are of the age where socializing is a large part of their lives, and they feel isolated from their normal routines. For those in employment, many are working from home, which denies them this very important interaction with their colleagues. So it is spot on.
I totally agree with you, David. You're absolutely right there. Yes, it must be, in a way, perhaps. Well, it's hard for elder people being active and well, being locked up, but also it's hard for, as you just said, teenagers and younger people who are socialising. It's all about their growing up into life, but also we mustn't forget the children as well. I remember reading recently that younger children are having a negative impact on all this as well. Primary school, secondary school, all of it is nasty.
It's nasty, but it is the education. You just said it. That's the education, and that's what's worrying me too. When I read, I was reading today again, and always education comes up. What they have, they struggle. There's a lot of kids out there who struggle with the way. So first, some schools are not online. They can't teach online. For the schools, for the online, the kids say, okay, you do this online now. At the moment we're running in, okay, this his mic doesn't work or his camera doesn't work. There's always some interference going on when they try to have their lessons because of technical issues. So it's really, we should have much earlier concentrated on this digital learning side, not now where we're forced to do it. So the younger generation gonna have a knock on their education, definitely.
Yes, absolutely. And, of course, ongoing employment. One thing I'm going to say that we said earlier on in lockdown, the first lockdown, SK 1.0, one thing, maybe I'm a bit controversial when I say this, Thomas, but hey, I don't care, it's Friday. Look, what could have happened, let's stick with the UK, because that's a test case example that I know about. The government could have encouraged two of the main broadcasters there, BBC and ITV, to give up just one channel, they have many, as you know, over purely to education. Back in the 70s and 80s, there was a wonderful thing called the Open University. OK, that's for higher education, I appreciate that, but BBC Two gave over quite a few hours of their broadcasting schedule to Open University students. Well, with the fact that the UK government has got a track record of this in the past, and also one of the biggest educational publishers still in British hands, that's Pearson Group, educational part, they could have combined together and given up a couple of TV channels and used, combining with the GCSEs and the A-levels, in the United Kingdom, they could have broadcast programs that would have fitted in the curriculum. Yes, of course, it doesn't make up for full-on teaching as the children would get in a proper school, but it would at least keep them going. It would at least keep them in the frame, and it wouldn't cost that much money either, I don't think, comparatively speaking.
Correct.
So if there's any educational policy experts out there, bear in mind what we're saying here right now on SK Lockdown 2.0, because I think all things have got to be looked at. This is a crisis.
Totally. I think it just highlights how affected our infrastructure is, how wrong our infrastructure is.
Yes.
All the technology around.
It's not being used effectively, is it? No,
exactly.
That's
our
the point.
infrastructure needs
quite.
to be updated.
It does indeed.
But quickly and
very quickly.
efficiently updated. And they missed that. Over the last decade, somehow the government wasn't taking that very serious.
They've taken their eye off the ball, too busy worrying about their PPE contracts and money in the back pocket for their mates and all that. Let's hope now there's been a new broom in Downing Street with both Lee Cairn and Dominic Cummings leaving, because that made me happy last night.
We lost
when
4 years of great political discussions because of this Brexit.
Oh, gosh, Brexit, yes. I can't wait to get back to the other programme, Agree to Disagree, and we'll have a special programme all about Brexit, and then bring it on, guys and girls. Let me have it. Sock it to me when we get that programme.
But it highlights, definitely, does our infrastructure, our daily life, how we cope with it, how we do, it should have been updated. The whole thing should be,
sure,
a change has to come. When people say back to normal, what normal? To a normal what didn't work.
No.
You know what I mean?
In many ways, it was broken.
Needed to be
there were
overhauled.
things broken, yes. But, of course, the other thing is that, sticking with the UK again, over the last 10 years, there's been a policy of economic austerity from several Conservative governments, and of course the post-banking crisis one of the coalition government. Austerity was the key word, and in that austerity so many local councils have lost enormous amount of funding, which has directly negatively impacted on thousands of people. The very time we need more mental health services, there are less.
Exactly. They're cutting down. That's all this. Go back where I said education. Here, Tom is saying they would probably want to charge for it, pay per learn.
Maybe,
no, pay per learn.
But then I would go under the Public Sector Broadcasting Act, for instance, and make BBC, ITV, Channel 5. I mean, they've got the licences. They paid money for the licences. The BBC is funded by you UK taxpayers, for heaven's sake. I don't think it's too much of a stretch of the imagination to give over some hours of programming for children.
I think this is totally doable.
It is doable. It was done before. It was done before in the 70s with older students for the Open University. That was a thing actually started by, would you believe, Harold Wilson, one of those good things that the Labour government in the 1960s did. And is still going, I have to say. And actually, to get a degree from an open university is highly prized because it's an awful lot of work. It may be a correspondence course over 4 years as opposed to 3, but I know several people who have got degrees from the Open University, and it's no Sunday picnic in the park, I can tell you. full-on work, but then at the end, you've got a degree. I mean, there was a case, wasn't there, of an old lady of 90. She managed to get an Open University degree some years back. I mean, fantastic feat. So if she can do it, I'm sure we could all do it.
Definitely.
But let's have education through the television channels. They can give up one
Yeah,
for
or
students
develop
that really
the
need
online
it now.
education at the same
Absolutely.
time. So now it's
Exactly.
an opportunity. Now they're seeing the mistakes. Now they're seeing the problems we're facing through the pandemic. So there is something good coming out to highlight. Hey, there is in the way you run our country, in the way you put
Yes, well,
things
I think-
into place. It's wrong. We have to move with the time and that quickly.
I think the UK government need to sit down tomorrow and talk to Pearson Group, for instance. They sold off the Financial Times, they sold off Alton Towers and everything else of their empire that had run for years and years and years. What do they do with the money? Don't tell me they put it into the shareholders' pockets. No, it can't possibly be that. But they have money floating around.
Yeah.
They are the biggest educational publisher in the world. Simon & Schuster they own, for instance, and others. For heaven's sake, work together with the UK government with an online educational programme. Surely
Definitely.
that can't be impossible in the 2020 digital age. They can get man going to the moon and possibly to Mars. They're working on a rocket in America now. It's going to blast people off, humans, back on the moon and Mars, I read the other day. I'm sure they can come
going
up with a
back
fix
home,
for
Rob.
education. Go back home. E.T., go back home, yes.
Going back home, man. But
All right,
let me read out a couple of comments here regarding what we were speaking. John Wright were commenting regarding the masks. And he says, have you seen the mask showing the sunset over the Deotopian Islands? No, I haven't.
If you've got a
If you've
picture,
got a picture,
please
yes.
send it in. We'd love to see different... Yes, how do you wear yours? I mean, we could say, couldn't we? We'd like to see some photographs, actually, of
Definitely.
masks. I know that some of these high-end fashion chains, Chanel is one such, hasn't they, that they brought out a whole new range of designer masks, would you believe?
Is the thing, I did Claire ordered us some masks.
Oh, did
I'm
she?
really
That was
try
nice.
to pick them up next week because with the
right,
post
okay.
something went wrong in town. So I have to get, but there's some in there.
Oh, are there?
And
Right.
Claire said, especially you got to ask, you can't see your smile. No, there is some see-through masks there too.
Ah,
So, and I'm really keen to
great.
show that
Okay,
off.
that could be
I
interesting.
try to get them next week and show you that. So
Yes.
Leon Checker is saying, hello guys,
Hi,
hi
Leon.
hi
And
Leon,
Jojo.
it's great to see you. Lorraine is saying regarding Christmas, keep busy making all your Christmas presents, get your family to do the same.
Absolutely.
Could make it a very interesting Christmas. I think so, yeah.
Yes, certainly a more family-orientated Christmas, that's for sure.
Definitely. Christopher Damana is saying, if you have Netflix, watch Undercover, a Belgian police drama. So there's something else to do.
Netflix is
Netflix is
fantastic,
great
Chris.
in
There's
that
so many.
perspective,
I
yeah.
could wax lyrical about Netflix for the next series of programs. They are fantastic. No, they are, because they really are producing local content. There's never been
good.
access to so many continental movies as there are now through Netflix. It's wonderful. Poland, Belgium, they're all churning them out. France, there's some good ones from France, and Asia as well. We're going Korean, Indian. It's all amazing. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Tom Giddings regarding the tests. He says, Boots, currently 12 minutes for your test. 12 minutes.
Thank you for telling us.
That's
That's
great,
the quickest
that's
that
great,
I've
yeah.
heard so far. Well done. Thank you, Tom.
I mean,
Boots, 12
would
minutes.
be interesting how much
Julie
is
Cam,
this test costing?
was
That's
telling
what
us.
I want to know.
Oh, yes, that's a good point. I've no idea. Perhaps, Tom, you can get back to us on that one.
That would be great. Then Army was writing here in Finnish. Do you want to read that, mate?
Well, I can't see anything at the moment.
I have no idea if I pronounced it right. This is Kokailenpa Suomeski onko COVID karantenissa vaikea.
Well done,
I don't
Thomas.
know.
I have no idea.
I don't know. Maybe I said something. Or
Perhaps
maybe I
Army
said
can-
something wrong now. Hopefully not,
With the Greeks ignore me very quickly. We humbly apologise if we have, no mean to offend, because we love you, Army. Keep your comments coming. Maybe we'll run it through Google Translate later on if we get the chance.
Yeah, I'm getting loads of messages in. Stavros Kitos is saying, Kalispera to Kerkiras. Hi, everybody
Hi
in
there.
Kerkiras. Thanks for writing in. Tom Giddings, I completely agree. Just now, this world works. Government would probably get into it somehow and won't feed bait.
Right, yes, okay.
So there's Lorraine Smith, open learning to free courses from the OU.
Ah, good one. I didn't know. That's great.
That's a
good
good
to know.
open
Yes,
learning
it is.
to
Excellent.
free courses from the OU.
Brilliant.
Open University.
Okay.
That's great. So that's something maybe you can pick up. This would be interesting to look in. When you got time, why don't educate yourself? Go in. Maybe change your life. It's great. So there are so many possibilities. I think it's
Absolutely.
whereas a negative is always a positive. When it's very, very black, it's gonna go light again. And that's gonna be the case here.
Totally, and that's a key word you've just put in a sentence there. Education really can change your life. There's no question about that. And it is, I mean, someone's famously said, didn't they? Education, education, education. Some UK politician, but it's right. It's right in its purity.
Yeah,
We all need education because life is a solid, ongoing education, isn't it?
Don't-
We're
it
learning
is,
new things
every
every
day.
day. Absolutely. yeah.
Every day, that's the beauty of life, because you learn every day. Here, Caroline is saying, I think the BBC did special programs for education during the first lockdown. So we have to
did they?
look, we have
Okay.
to find out. But
Let's bring them back, I'd say, Caroline.
oh, definitely. And Angie Driscoll is saying, the Open University is incredible. I
Yes, it
gained
is.
a BSc degree back in 2005.
Wow.
Highly recommended.
Excellent. Well done.
Well
yeah,
done.
brilliant, you see. It was a good thing, and it's still going, and it's great, yeah.
Yeah, but getting loads in here. Tom Giddings said £120 per person for the tested boots.
Ah, for the 12-minute one. Thank you, Tom. That's
120.
excellent,
So
quick
this is
information.
then £10 a minute. Oh, what?
Yes, yes, absolutely, the way you're looking at it, but...
Around.
Yes, okay.
Why not?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, it must be, yeah.
I know I might be controversial again, but I have to say there is a call to make these things almost free, isn't there, really?
I know, I mean, 120
Because
quid is
not
a lot of money,
everyone
man.
can afford that. If you're
Yeah.
on a strict budget,
See,
you've got a family
that's-
of 4 or 5, and you're out of work and you're not getting a furlough, you couldn't afford it, could you?
Even with
could
the
you
furlough,
afford
you
that?
we
You
wouldn't
couldn't.
afford
No,
it.
no,
Well,
no,
life
no.
got expensive.
So-
the relation, what we work and what we get paid and what life costs, they are completely out of order, in my
They are.
opinion.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, I mean, when you look back 30, 40 years, when you earned enough so you can live, but also enjoy life.
Yeah.
You could build, you could go forward, you have your family, your 2.1 children and your house and everything, you know. Nowadays, you can't, you start thinking. You work, you get your money, and everything around you is so expensive.
Isn't it
It's,
just?
you know, even as determines where you able to live.
Totally. Absolutely.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, no, it
You
does,
can't
yeah.
tell me that's fair.
No, it's not. And there's nowadays so many other extra expenses. You've got a council tax to worry about. You've got insurance, possibly, if you're feeling so inclined. There's the mortgage, the rent, all the bills and everything else. It's a different ballgame now, isn't it? But I think that's still quite steep great to have a 12-minute test, but that is quite a high price. Although I remember saying that Austria was doing tests in the early days of this pandemic at €190 or something, weren't they?
Yeah,
So that's a bit cheaper than that, but even so, still pricey.
Oh, it is. Man, David Roseman is writing, and we get a lot of messages. Thank you so much, guys. For the last 40 years in the UK, successive governments have looked to outsource services to the private sector to an extent that now there is no real government influence in many so-called public sectors, as too much control is held by the contracted partners and their shareholders.
Well
So
said,
well said.
David.
That's
Absolutely.
spot on, man.
It's totally spot on. And following on from that point, David, now we've got a new regime coming into the United States from January the 20th. Hopefully that will be the case, Joe Biden. Maybe we can put an end to these ghastly rumours that the NHS is going to be broken up, sold off piecemeal, and as a part of a US-UK trade deal in somewhere or other, there would be open door privatisation from American great big drug combines. We don't want any of that, and I know the NHS is such a precious thing for the UK citizen. And it's a wonderful institution, absolutely amazing.
Fantastic. I mean, all the experiences I had with the NHS, it was great. Even, for me not being English and moving to this country, working there and doing, but, wow.
Totally.
It's, I traveled a lot. I traveled the world a lot. And, and I know health systems around.
You're a qualified first aider anyway, Thomas, aren't you?
I done my paramedic training, in the late 80s. Yeah, man. In Vienna, at the United Nations.
Right.
HQ,
Well, you couldn't
fantastic.
Just to think,
can't get better. But when you travel around, then you see the UK. They got a fantastic health system.
Oh, they have.
The NHS is unbelievably
It's
good.
amazingly good. And of course, we mustn't forget all the people that work, not just the nurses and the doctors and the consultants and all of that. It's the cleaners, the porters,
everyone
who works to make
the
that
maintenance
institution.
guys.
Exactly,
Everybody is involved in
and
there.
of course, ambulance people, the paramedics as well. We take our hat off to them all, and they are putting their lives at risk every every single day. That's why it's so important to wear your mask, to keep social distancing, and to keep washing those hands. Please do so.
Yeah, that's definitely. I mean, we're running around with time, and that I think you got the poem.
I've got a poem,
You
yes.
got the poem you
Yes,
want to
I
read.
have.
You have other things you wanted to.
We do. We're going to go a little bit over time
Maybe
today
we go a
because,
little bit over.
because it's Friday and we're going to let our hair down slightly. If we have hair to let down, which I think we do. This is a poem. I'm reading it out because it's written, apparently, I don't know the authoress, but she is a student, a post-student, I think, of English literature, and the poem came to me late last night from our fantastic viewer and contributor, Tom Gittings. And it's, well, I'll leave you all thinking about this poem because it might require further discussion afterwards. Anyway, it's called The End. New ways to communicate. Some have to self-isolate, many expressing their views, although they've not seen the news. Stockpiling made the shelves empty. No toilet roll, rice or linguine. Food banks running out of stock. In shops, people run amok. Prime Minister speaks to us daily. Nothing's clear, all sounds like maybe. The weather outside is so fine. Stay inside, stay home, or be fined. Case numbers rise every day. Will it ever go away? A cough, fever, short of breath could result in your untimely death. It is easy to focus on all that is bad, the worry, loneliness, what we could have had. Look a bit harder and you will see people not mentioned on the BBC. Retired NHS staff returning to work, getting paid, but there are no other perks. Communities helping, coming together. It's doubtful this spirit will last forever. Key workers out risking their lives and lives of their parents, husbands, wives. Yet some people don't like to follow rules. They socialise, touch. Any law they refuse. Try to stay upbeat, or at least pretend. Take up a hobby with all your time to spend. This year has been hard to comprehend. We are all just waiting for the end. And I think the lady who wrote that is suffering from, or has suffered from, a degree of mental health problems and anxiety. And as we've said before, we all fully empathise and sympathise here at Studio Kirkra because we all have at some point in our lives suffered from that. And we were saying the other day, didn't we, there was 1 in 4, was it, people around the globe are currently suffering from a mental health issue?
1 in 5. 1 in 5 is
right,
that. So
okay,
Reuters study into the 1 in 5
Right.
who had COVID develop within 90 days
Okay.
after having COVID mental health issues.
But she's right, the authoress there of that poem, I mean, yes, it rhymes, and yes, it's quite a powerful piece, does get to the grips, it does highlight some of these issues that we've actually been talking about today and on other editions. I'm interested to hear what the folks at home say. I assume the very last line, the authoress is meaning the end of lockdown, the end of pandemic. I sincerely hope she's not meaning anything else. We have no indication of that, and we very much want the world to continue.
It's artistic freedom, mate.
Yes,
So
poetic
comes
license.
in poetic license.
Thank you, Tom,
yes.
very much for drawing that to us attention and for sending it in to me. Thank you. If you have any
Definitely.
poems out there that you'd like to be read out, whether they're yours or they're somebody else's, please send them to us. You can do it by a variety of ways. Facebook Messenger is fine, or an inbox email at inbox@studiokirkra.com.
Yeah, and here David Roseman is saying, it doesn't matter what president is in office regarding the thing. American drug companies want to get into the NHS. It would also be nice to think that a large part of the NHS isn't already privatized.
It would be nice, and I know that quite a lot of it is already. But I think the worry, the fear was, for many in the United Kingdom, was that if Trump was to be re-elected and these all-important UK-US trade deal was going to be struck, there was a price to pay, and I think the US were looking very much at the UK NHS, along with chlorinated chicken and all those other things that have been making recent headlines. Anyway, the good news is, let's get some good news, Thomas. This coming weekend, if Formula One aficionados will be lucky enough to see the Turkish Grand Prix coming back for the first time since 2011, I do believe. And also it was announced in the world of Formula One that next year they're going to try and have more self-sufficient fuel in their engines. I think there is a memorandum of understanding that by 2026 all fuel must be carbon neutral. Apparently carbon capture is going to play a part there. But I was going to say to you that they've now released the provisional schedule for the racing season 2021. And I was pleased to see the return of the Dutch Grand Prix. That will cheer our wonderful
Dutch
Anthony
Grand Prix,
up.
yeah.
Yes, that's going to be in Zandvoort, which apparently is a seaside town. I'm sure Anthony knows all about that. And the French Grand Prix is coming back at a place, excusez-moi if I get this wrong, and bonsoir to all our wonderful French-speaking friends, Le Castellet, I think it is. Does that mean anything to you?
Le Castellet means absolutely nothing
right,
to
okay.
me.
That's on the 27th of June,
idea.
apparently, and Canadian Grand Prix is going to be at Montreal. And I think also, here's the highlight of the case, maybe for new races, on the 28th of November 2021, scheduled to be the first ever race in Saudi Arabia at Jeddah, the capital.
Wow.
How about that?
Oh, yes, and I heard about that today. I just was flying over, and they're not finishing the racetrack until 2023. So for the race next year. No, for the race next year.
Oh, it's a race. Street race, is that right?
Exactly. They're closing off the city, and they're making it
wonderful.
into a Formula 1 street race.
Oh,
Wow.
fantastic. Now, that's
That's
great.
great, isn't it?
Absolutely. Excuse me, my hair's getting in the way. As it usually does. Yes, that is great. One sad thing was they were hoping to run a race next year in Vietnam. It was all set to go, but would you believe one of the main race organisers is on a charge for corruption? Nothing to do whatsoever with COVID-19.
This is who? Do you know who it is? I don't know.
No, it's someone to do with. They were going to run a GP at Hanoi. I may have the gentleman's name. Hold on a minute. I think I probably have. 1 second. And Mr. Chung. Mr. Chung, who was a key official, and it was regarding documents that apparently were containing state secrets, nothing to do with racing Formula One, but he is guilty in some other way. And because of that, because he was such a key important figure, they're not going to run the race. No, but there are also concerns about COVID-19. If you remember, Vietnam was one of the first countries after North Korea, the Democratic People's Republic of North Korea, I should say, to close their borders.
Yeah.
And that's why in the first wave of this pandemic, they were quite successful.
Yes,
they were indeed.
Yeah. And what a beautiful country it is, Vietnam.
Oh, absolutely. Haven't been there, but the Mekong Valley Delta looks stunning.
Stunning. We know somebody who's been there.
Do.
And who
he
is
was waxing lyrical. Hello, Spiro, if you're watching.
It's great. Nice.
Yeah.
Well, it's great he went all off on one.
He did.
Wow, what a country. What is
he made me want to go.
Yeah.
Absolutely, Thomas, to be honest with you. Because, my early memories, actually my first adult memories as a child were watching terrible pictures on BBC News from the Vietnam War. A terrible thing. And such a shame, with such a beautiful country. We won't get into the ethics of that, but I don't like war. I'm very much against war. I've got to be honest and say that, because I think war is a failure of humankind. That's what I actually believe.
A failure of communication.
Well, definitely. Yes,
and the ego's playing a big role in that. No?
Absolutely. Speaking of which, one recent conflict that's been raging with the death of more than 5,000 people, that's the fight between Azerbaijan and Armenia. The truce is still holding, I do believe. It looks like Armenia has totally had to capitulate, and now the people in Armenia are calling for their Prime Minister, I'm sorry I forget his name, I do apologise, to resign, because they feel that he's sold them out. But I think this was under intense pressure and mediation from Russia, because obviously Russia was kind of involved in both sides. Turkey was very much arming and supporting the Azerbaijanis. I should point out that it was traditionally Azerbaijan territory. I can't remember all the ins and outs why Armenia is important to Armenia. I'm sure there was an Armenian viewer that was put me on the right track. But I'm just pleased from a humanitarian point of view that the war, the dreadful shelling and all the rest of it has stopped for now. Apparently Turkish drone strikes were most instrumental. A very big city called Shushi, I think it was called, fell, and that prompted these talks between Mr. Putin and the Azerbaijani president and the Prime Minister of Armenia. So let's hope the truce holds and that war has come to an end. Of course, there never was a proper truce.
Yeah, but I think we got bigger problems.
Well, we have.
They can't see that. This is
maybe
beyond
COVID-19
me. Really
is
beyond me.
Exactly. Yes, quite. Fighting over a bit of territory. No, come on. We've got to get real. We want to be joining together to fight the one common enemy, which is COVID-19. Let's face fact here. You know.
That's it. But you know what? I think a couple of stories we have to leave for
We
Monday.
do. Yes, I'll
over
tantalise
there.
you with something about a
I
girl's
know.
best friend on Monday. Remind me
So,
to ask you about
okay.
a girl's best friend.
Okay, I make a note on the board, man.
Yeah, great.
But
Good one.
But let me go to the bowl quickly and saying before we go, it's: do you think COVID-19 will change your life? That's our question to you today. Yes, 52%. No, 26%, and not sure, 23%. I know I'm getting emailed with pictures. I'm gonna try that to John to get this in on Monday. But before we go, I would like to show this graphic again, what I had up earlier about how to prevent an anxiety attack for everybody who just switched on. Here are a couple of points. Yeah, breathe deeply in through your nose and out through your mouth. Slowly look around you and find 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 emotion you feel. This is called the grounding. So do it to yourself, and I hope it's gonna help you.
That's good, isn't it?
That's good, and I think it's very, very helpful, and we're gonna post it on the Facebook page. Lorraine Smith, thank you very much for that. But just to have a lighter mood now and that, well, I told you yesterday, my city,
Yes,
Graz,
that's right.
yeah,
Yes,
in Austria,
quite.
is putting up the Christmas tree outside. And
Fantastic.
here a friend of mine is an old from school, Daniela, were sending me that
what
picture
a
from it. Look at that.
splendid decorated tree. Isn't that resplendent
Oh, it's
there?
great. Every year we had that, and that's how I remember it through my childhood and everything. And that's the mayor's house.
I was just going to ask you, the mayor's house, mayor's residence.
Yeah,
very
that's the
nice
mayor's
indeed,
residence.
isn't
Yeah.
it? Good des res, that one, mate.
So it's great,
beautiful.
and normally
Yeah,
around there
fabulous.
is full with sausage stands, man. Hot
Oh, sausage
sausages
stands, really?
and chestnut stands, and
yes, yeah.
so it's quite a big place. But they
That's a
putting
lovely
that
tree,
one up
though.
already.
Yes, great. There's a tradition in London, Trafalgar Square. Every year they have a beautiful Christmas tree, donated from Norway, which is a tradition that's been going on now since the Second World War, I do believe.
Wow.
But
wow.
that's a splendid tree, isn't it?
It's great, and they start
Yeah.
doing that, earlier now because of lockdown.
Well,
They're using the
yes.
time to
Yeah.
get these things done and make the city look nice. So when you come out of lockdown, at least you have something, a little bit of Christmas spirit.
Absolutely, that's lovely to see, yes. And the poll was interesting, wasn't it? So since we've been on air, it had quite a significant increase in people
yeah.
saying that they do think COVID-19 is going to change their lives. That's quite an increase.
It's quite an increase,
Yes, it is.
52%,
Yeah,
saying
yeah.
yes, it's gonna change, and I believe that because it's gonna change a lot of people's lives, and
Yeah.
I hope for the better.
We certainly hope so, yes.
Definitely. But guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for writing in and commenting. That's all we have time for today. The weekend is ahead. I hope you enjoy your weekend at home. I know it's lockdown, but it's gonna be alright. Don't worry. Let's stay positive together. So until Monday, I wish you a great weekend. See you Monday. Kali Nichter.
Absolutely, Thomas. And as always, thank you very much for sharing your time. And it's just wonderful that we're all being connected together to help us all, each other, through this dreadful time of COVID-19. Wherever you are, enjoy the rest of the day or evening and have a wonderful, splendid weekend. Take care, keep safe, and a very good day to you all.